thank you, witnesses, for your testimony. Again, Mr. Unger, I apologize. We can also confirm the World Program posted that the recent pause concerning in-kind food assistance to WFP has been rescinded. This allows for resumption of food purchases and deliveries
Madam Chair?
USAID.
Madam Chair, are we going member to member, or do you get to make a speech in between each witness? If you're going to offer evidence or testimony,
you're not recognized.
You should be in the clock.
You're not recognized. It's
Sure
my time.
Sure I am.
I now recognize myself for 5 minutes of questions. And this committee, based on this hearing and witness testimonies, will consider recommending investigations and criminal referrals. When Joe Biden was president, his son Hunter was on the board of a Ukrainian energy company called Burisma. The prosecutor general of Ukraine at the time, Viktor Shokin, was investigating Burisma for corruption. Biden threatened, and it's on video, to withhold $1 billion of USAID grant to Ukraine if Shokin wasn't fired. Mr. Primorak, is USAID supposed to be used as leverage by a president to protect his son?
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we've got a major story that's been making waves in the political world. Marjorie Taylor Greene has come out with some serious accusations against President Joe Biden and his administration's use of USAID. Now, if you're not familiar with USAID, it's the U.S. Agency for International Development, and it plays a huge role in U.S. foreign policy. But Greene is claiming that this agency is being used to protect Hunter Biden. That's right, we're going to break down everything that's being said, analyze what it means, and how it could change everything. Let's jump right in. So, the main accusation from Marjorie Taylor Greene centers on the claim that Biden used USAID as leverage to protect his son, Hunter Biden, during the Burisma scandal. For some quick context, Burisma is a Ukrainian energy company where Hunter Biden was a board member. At the same time, the Ukrainian prosecutor general, Viktor Shokin, was investigating the company for corruption. According to Greene, Biden threatened to withhold $1 billion in USAID funding unless Shokin was fired. Now, this is a huge claim because if it's true, it would suggest that the president was using U.S. taxpayer money for personal gain. There's even a video clip of Biden making this threat, and it's been circulating for a while. But let's ask the important question, is this corruption, or is there more to the story?
No, we call that corruption.
Mr. Primorak, in your estimation, roughly what percentage of USAID funding is doled out to bad actors or to efforts that don't have the best interests of Americans in mind?
I think what troubles me most is learning, I believe last year, following the hard work of the House Foreign Affairs Committee and Senator Joni Ernst, that USAID has been paying out over 50% to overhead charges. The Office of Inspector General of USAID criticized the agency for not knowing the overhead charges being handed out to all of these actors for $142 billion of disbursements. That is extremely troubling.
Yes. Mr. Primorak, Samantha Power, Biden's USAID administrator, openly spoke about her agency's efforts to promote democracy around the world. In your estimation, Mr. Primorak, is that what she was doing? If not, what was USAID doing during the Biden administration?
Let me cite the Holy Father, Pope Francis, who accused USAID and other donors of promoting ideological colonization, pushing a radical ideology onto the developing world that is anti-family and anti-life.
It has been asserted that USAID spent tens of millions of American taxpayer dollars to promote propaganda in Brazil in the lead up to the Bolsonaro-Lula election in 2022. It has been claimed that this funding was used to pass censorship laws and silence Bolsonaro's online presence, and even bar him from running for office in the future. Mr. Primorak, can you offer any insight into these allegations, or at least comment on whether the U.S. should play a role in toppling democratic processes around the world?
I think what we saw was USAID weaponized by the Biden administration and by Samantha Power to attack any party that was conservative. It just didn't happen in Brazil. It also happened, for instance, in very pro-America, Poland and Hungary as well.
One of the most extensive examples of regime change operations fueled by USAID is that of their role in the Syrian civil war aimed at toppling Bashar al-Assad. Reports from DD Geopolitics and other sources estimate that USAID funneled over $15 billion into Syria over a decade, covertly funding opposition groups, mercenaries, and anti-government networks under the cover of humanitarian aid. This included support for militant factions and propaganda efforts, often in collaboration with the National Endowment for Democracy. The operation culminated in Assad's overthrow in 2024 by Western-backed groups, with USAID's financial trails documented in congressional budget reports and criticized by Syrian officials as interference masks as assistance. Mr. Roman, do these kinds of activities carried out by an American agency make Americans safer at home, or do they risk embroiling us in more deadly and costly foreign conflicts?
When the agency is doing it according to the way in which represents American national security interests, it's correct. But when it's abused for political purposes, ideological umbrage, and sponsoring Islamism, which is inherently anti-American, it is the worst exhaustion of American taxpayer money that can be thought of, especially when it leads to the loss and danger to American lives.
Mm-hmm. In 2014, during the Euromaidan uprising in Ukraine, which led to the ousting of President Viktor Yanukovych, USAID is estimated to have spent billions of dollars on civil society initiatives that were allegedly designed to destabilize the pro-Russian government. USAID specifically funded NGOs and media outlets that amplified the anti-Yanukovych sentiment in an effort to align Ukraine more closely with the West. We also know that 9 out of 10 of Ukraine's major media outlets receive funding from USAID. Mr. Roman, should Americans' tax dollars be funding propaganda?
When it's pro-American propaganda, yes. But if it's supporting another regime which is inherently anti-American, no, it should have no involvement with that, which is the pattern we've seen under the Biden and Obama administrations.
Thank you. I now recognize the ranking member for 5 minutes.
All right, well,
if you're enjoying this analysis so far, make sure you subscribe to the channel. You don't want to miss out on future deep dives like this one. Now, let's take a step back and talk about USAID itself. USAID is one of the most influential agencies in U.S. foreign policy. It's responsible for providing aid to countries around the world, whether that's in the form of humanitarian assistance, economic development, or even political reform efforts. But what happens when this aid gets weaponized for political purposes? Greene has claimed that under the Biden administration, USAID has been used as a tool of ideological warfare, pushing certain political ideologies on foreign governments and populations. According to her, this is part of a bigger pattern of the U.S. meddling in global politics in a way that may not always serve America's best interests. Is that the case, or is there a different agenda at play? One of the most startling allegations involves Brazil's 2022 election. Greene and others have suggested that USAID funded efforts to censor the pro-Bolsonaro media and interfere with the election. Some have even argued that USAID money was used to silence Jair Bolsonaro, the then president of Brazil, and his supporters. The claim here is that the U.S. government was trying to influence the outcome of an election to favor their preferred candidate. This is a serious allegation, because if true, it suggests that USAID is not just about humanitarian aid, it's about shaping political outcomes in other countries. We've seen accusations like this before, particularly around the 2014 Euromaidan uprising in Ukraine. But is this a coincidence or a pattern? Now, let's talk about Syria and Ukraine, 2 countries where USAID has been deeply involved in recent years. In Syria, USAID has been accused of funding opposition groups, mercenaries, and even supporting anti-government propaganda. Over $15 billion is said to have been funneled into Syria over the past decade. Then, in Ukraine, USAID played a significant role in the Euromaidan protests that led to the toppling of President Yanukovych in 2014. Critics argue that USAID funds were used to destabilize the pro-Russian government and support the shift towards the West. Is this intervention justified, or is it a dangerous precedent for U.S. foreign policy? The real question we need to ask, is this kind of involvement in foreign conflicts helping or hurting American interests? So, what does all of this mean for the U.S.? If these allegations are true, it raises serious questions about the role of USAID in global politics. Is the agency being used to advance personal and political interests rather than serving the public good? And more importantly, should American taxpayers be funding this kind of interventionist policy? If you ask me, this is a conversation we need to have, because the stakes are higher than ever. If these practices continue, it could lead to more instability around the world and more risks for American soldiers and citizens alike. So, what do you think about these allegations? Is USAID being misused for political purposes, or is this just another conspiracy theory? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you think. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.